fall into the nothingness that awaits you and your master.
Do you not know death when you see it, old man? This is my power.
The time has come. The forging of the Great Rings. I can't tell you guys, I cannot begin to express my excitement for this one. For any of you that know me, I am a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Always have been. Went to see all 3 films at the cinema. I have the books, I have the games, I have the toys, the ornaments, the mugs, the cups, even the bloody coasters. Look at that. I'm a massive fan, as you probably gathered. But now is the time for the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, to reach our screens. So Amazon have secured the license from the Tolkien estate to make a TV series based on Lord of the Rings. Now, just gauging the name, I imagine this is going to be set in the Second Age before the Lord of the Rings actually kicks off. So it's a bit weird that it's called Lord of the Rings, but I think they're tying in the fan base and trying to sort of gear people into what it's going to be about and just trying to set the scene, which I get, but it's a little bit of a name pull and a name drop. But here we are, we're going to witness the trailer that Amazon has dropped on the Rings of Power. And without further ado, I'm not going to say anything, I'm just going to watch. Just going to watch.
Rings for the Elven Kings. Under the sky. 7 for the Dwarf Lords. In their halls of stone. 9 for mortal men, doomed to die. 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne. In the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie.
Got a date? Have we got a date? We have no date. We have no date. Okay, that's gone onto another video on my watch list, so ignore that. But a very sneaky teaser trailer. So it doesn't give any live footage, it doesn't give any idea of what it's going to be, where it's set. However, my hunch is, based on the name and what I know about the lore of Lord of the Rings, this is going to be set in the Second Age. So it's going to be set before the time of Frodo, Bilbo and the Ring. It's going to be set before Gollum was even Gollum, so it's going to be back in the time when probably before he was even Smeagol, before that. I think it's going to be set around the time where Celebrimbor creates the Rings of Power, basically. Sauron is not Sauron at that stage. He goes under a guise of a elf, and he basically goes to Celebrimbor and basically uses his smithing skills to make the Rings of Power. As we know, he makes the Dwarven rings and the rings for men, but the elves make their own rings in secrecy. So Celebrimbor in secret makes 3 more elven rings because he suspects Sauron's being a bit itchy and a bit weird and a bit sus. And in that process, the 3 elven rings that we know that are held by, eventually, Gandalf, Galadriel and Elrond are the only 3 rings that are not under Sauron's power, and they actually help fight against the One Ring. But those are the only 3 rings that Sauron does not create. But all of the Rings of Power are created by Celebrimbor, apart from the One Ring, obviously. But the One Ring is created by Sauron himself, but is used by the knowledge that he gets and steals from Celebrimbor, who makes all the other rings. So I think that's where this is going. It's called the Rings of Power, so it's going to be about that time. I think there's going to be some amazing battles in this one, because I'm just thinking now in my head of the amount of battles that happen around sort of between the First and Second Age, and when around the time that the rings are made. You've got the shipwright in there. You're going to see Glorfindel, who's like one of my most admired elves in the book. It's a shame that he didn't get the nod in the films at all, because a lot of what you see Legolas do in the films Glorfindel is his replacement, and by God is he a hell of a replacement. Legolas is my favourite character, guys, but you just can't beat Glorfindel. Glorfindel he can take on he's the only elf in history that's been able to take down a Balrog, and he's not afraid of anything. He's just an absolute beast. Anyone that can go toe-to-toe with a Balrog is an absolute monster, and as we know, the only other person that's been able to do that has been Gandalf. I won't go into Glorfindel a bit too much because I don't want to spoil anything that might happen in the show, but there's a lot of history to Glorfindel, and he's an amazing elf. We're probably going to see Galadriel in there. I would imagine Elrond's going to be in there as well. You're probably going to see Elladan and Elrohir, which is his two twin sons. There's a real deep and sad story with the mother of the two sons, so Elrond's wife, basically. It involves some death and some killing, but I won't go into that too much, just in case I am throwing out some spoilers here, because I don't know what's going to be in the series. But there's a real sad story around that as well, and you kind of feel super sorry for Elrond. It's amazing that he can sort of go through that and carry on, but later on you'll see why he's got such a passion for hunting and killing orcs, because there's a tie-in to it. But there's so much in the books, guys. There's so much in the Unfinished Tales. There's so much in the Silmarillion, which is all set around the time I would imagine this is going to take place. There's you've got the Black Númenóreans, which is formed from when the last sort of line of the kings of the city of Númenor falls into the sea. There's loads and loads and loads of stuff that they could go with this, and I hope they do. I hope they have the budget, I would imagine they do, to really push this one out there. I could see this being the modern day Game of Thrones, back when Game of Thrones was amazing, in the original days, and I think if they've got the budget and the right actors for this one, I think it's going to be a massive hit. As a fan of the series, as a fan of the genre in general, as a massive, massive fan of the franchise, I want it to do well. I want it to really succeed, and I want to enjoy this one. I will go in with my lore hat on. I will go in with I've read the books, I've played the games, I've seen the movies 100 times, with that in mind, which is kind of like a critique hat. But I am also going to take a step back a little bit and look at this as an angle of, they're going to come in this at an angle of being fresh. They're hopefully going to move away from the books a little bit, but also stay true to it in the sense of what the characters are like and how they pay homage to the characters in the series. I liked the Hobbit films, but I think that's where the Hobbit films got it wrong. They sort of destroyed the character arcs, and it was too cinematic for me. It lost the fantasy, it lost the origin stories almost of the characters. Thorin, for example, is nothing like what you see in the movie as he is in the book. And likewise, a lot of things that you see in the movies don't happen in the books. The book is literally one book, so a lot of what you see in the films is made up, it's fiction. I know the Lord of the Rings books are fiction, but in terms of the story and the origin and what you see in The Hobbit, they had less material to go by, which is why, for me, it falls short of being a complete and satisfying story, versus Lord of the Rings, which is almost true to the books, but there's a lot of subtle changes, and just to make it more cinematic, like, you know, Arwen and Aragorn's love story and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, going off piste, I can make a whole bloody video about this on its own, but I'm really excited for this one, guys. I want to say it's going to be successful. I would imagine it will, just by the name. It's got Lord of the Rings written on it, so everyone and their dog is going to be watching this one, so it's going to be successful. But I hope it is successful in the sense that it's getting the right audience, it's engaging, it's an amazing story, the actors are great, the cinematography is amazing, the set pieces, the dialogue, the writing. If it all comes together nicely, this could be an absolute beast, and I cannot wait for this one to come out. I think it's going to be out in the next few months, so I will absolutely be watching this one, and I will absolutely be doing a review for you. I will be breaking down each episode as well, guys, something that's going to be new for the channel, so I'm going to be breaking down each episode as the series comes out, and giving you a fair and hopefully honest review on it, so stay tuned for that one. If you did enjoy the video, guys, please do leave a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you think. Are you going to be checking out this one? Do you have any reservations or thoughts on it? How do you think it's going to be set, and how do you think it's going to be delivered? I'm certain this is going to be set in the Second Age. I'm certain we're going to see Celebrimbor. I'm certain we're going to see Glorfindel. We're definitely going to see Gandalf. We're going to have some nods to the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Maybe some from The Hobbit, especially the elves like Thranduil. Thranduil is bound to be in this one. Legolas is probably going to be a little boy, but we'll have little nods like that and stuff to all that coming in and tying in nicely for old fans and also introducing new fans to the genre as well. But let me know in the comments what you think, guys. If you did enjoy the video as well, don't forget to come and subscribe to the channel. Please do hit the bell icon on the channel homepage as well, and you'll be notified as and when any other content like this goes live. Until next time, cannot wait, stay tuned for more. I'll see you again soon. Peace.